Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Michelle Fondin author vlog. I believe this is episode 12. I'm the author of 12 published books, including The Empowered Divine Feminine, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman in the 21st Century and Beyond, and my latest and greatest, The 8 Limbs of Yoga for Modern Times, a practical guide to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Both of these books will be mentioned in the vlog today, and both are available to purchase on Amazon and Ingram Spark, and the links are all below. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you here. Thank you for subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. Make sure to interact with the video, give a thumbs up, put a comment in the comment section below. It's super helpful, especially with the way YouTube works today, as it is ever changing. I am here with my friends, Grogu and 2 versions of Gudetama. And here I have my Grogu tumbler with my Ticino Dandelion Caramel Nut Tea. Oh my gosh, super good, and it is fall already. I cannot believe it's fall. It is really fall. We are heading into October. I am astonished. Where did September go? No idea. I have no idea where it went. The theme for today's vlog is overcoming limiting beliefs. If I can do it, so can you. This is about transcending limiting beliefs and finding your inner strength. And this is something I speak about in my book, The Empowered Divine Feminine. And the power of the mind is something that is more mentioned in the 8 Limbs of Yoga for Modern Times, because really, yoga philosophy is about transcending the mind, the crazy mind that we all tend to have. So I want to show you something. This is a medal for a 10-miler, and of course it's spinning. This is a medal for the 10-mile run that I did 2 weeks ago. It is a 10-miler. Now this is not the longest race that I have run, but it is the longest race since 2017. So it's been about 8 years since I ran a race that was over a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. So this is not a 10K, this is 10 miles. And I did this 2 weeks ago. Now I had adequately prepared for it, for sure. And I'm also preparing for a half marathon for March 1st of next year in Walt Disney World. As many of you know, I'm a huge Disney fan, and I've also run other Disney races. But by the time I run the half marathon in 2026, it will have been 9 years since my last half marathon. Now, I don't know about you, but chronologically, the years have been moving forward. So I'm not as young as I was in 2017 or when I ran a half marathon prior to that in 2015, which would make it 10 years from this year in 2025. So that's really what I want to talk to you about, is how accomplishing a goal that may seem really hard, if not impossible, is A, a mind game, and B, it's about overcoming your limiting beliefs. And this is what I had to overcome in order to even run this 10-miler. So in order for you to fully understand this, we need to go back, and we need to go way back. I am going to take you into the 1970s when I was a kid. This is almost embarrassing to mention, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, especially if you're a girl. And maybe if you are a guy who was not into sports or was not very active as a kid. I, as a child, was always told by my mother that I was very clumsy, that I was very uncoordinated, that I would trip over my own feet a lot. And I was 3 years old and I grew really fast. So it was like I was a 2-year-old and then I turned 3 and I must have grown like 7 inches or something. I grew very fast. And because I grew so fast, my coordination was off. My walking was off. And most of you do not see me standing, but I'm really all legs. So that happened where I just had this huge growth spurt between the ages of maybe 3 and 4, where I grew several inches in 1 year. And I began like tripping over my own feet, and I was very uncoordinated and I couldn't walk straight, and I would frequently fall downstairs, and I would frequently like stumble and fall if I was just walking. And so my mother, being the person that she is, not terribly kind, was always calling me clumsy and uncoordinated. And that's just Michelle. She always just like falls over. Well, that's a limiting belief, right? If someone repeats something to you time and again, then you begin to believe it. You find that that is now your belief, even if it's not necessarily true, right? A lot of kids go through growth spurts throughout their lives, and they may grow several inches in 1 year, whether it's in early childhood or in puberty. And not all kids are clumsy or uncoordinated or have to carry that with them. That first year of adjustment, when you have a big growth spurt, can take some time to get used to your new body, but that doesn't make you uncoordinated or clumsy. And so that was the narrative that I had in my head. And so as a result, when it came to sports, especially sports with balls or team sports, or even running sports, like sports that required you to run, such as baseball. My mom put me in t-ball and I had to bat from a tee, but then you have to run to first base and second base and third base. And because I was so uncoordinated or clumsy, I really couldn't run. I couldn't run fast, or again, I would fall, I would trip over my own feet. And this really perpetuated from one thing to another thing to another thing. Now, when I was about 8 years old, my mom put me in ballet to help me with my sense of not being coordinated. And that really helped with my sense of balance and poise and being able to walk properly. But it didn't resolve being able to play sports or sports with balls or even being able to run for that matter. It did resolve some of it, but not all of it. So I had extremely low self-esteem when it came to being in gym class, for example. I had really, really low self-esteem if somebody invited me to play dodgeball or baseball or softball or football. I just didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I could do it. I felt like I would let the team down. I felt like I would let myself down or embarrass myself by falling over. And so this really perpetuated, and this was really deep, and it ran super deep. Now, I don't know if you can remember in gym class, but in gym class, you had to pick teams often when you were a child in elementary school and maybe middle school. And I was so uncoordinated. I was so unsure of myself. I was so uncertain that I could do anything right if it was in a gym per se, that I didn't believe in myself at all, like zero self-confidence, not even 1% confidence, zero self-confidence. And I was always the last one picked for teams, which is horrifying and very embarrassing when no one wants to pick you for their team in gym class ever. Like you're just sitting there on the floor and then finally the teacher has to tell somebody to pick you because you're the only one sitting there. That was me. That was me for the first 10 years of gym class. And then finally in 10th grade, of course, I didn't have to do gym anymore. I was actually doing cheerleading my freshman year in high school, and I was doing ballet until about my freshman year in high school too. But when it came to running, sports, gym class, I was a loser with a big capital L. Now, I carried this with me. So even into adulthood, if friends would say, hey, we're going to play beach volleyball, let's pick up a game, do you want to play with us? I would say, absolutely not. I will sit in the sand and I will watch you, because I couldn't bear the embarrassment of missing a ball or not being able to hit a ball, or other people seeing how uncoordinated I was. And so when it came to running or running recreationally, I really shied away from even being able to run, because in my head, it was me. I'm going to trip over my own feet. I'm going to break my legs and never be able to walk again. That was my mindset until my early 30s, where I decided, well, I really want to get fit. And I had taken a lot of aerobics classes and I was teaching aerobics at some point, but that always had like that dance feel from ballet when I was growing up. So it was never quite a sport for me. And also it was never quite going above and beyond into taking the leap of faith to be able to run. And so in my late 20s, early 30s, I actually began running. Now, running is saying a lot because it was a very much a light jog, if that. I think I was running like a 14-minute mile or something like that. And in between that time, I was having babies. And so I always had a lot of extra weight. And so in my mind, I said, well, if I can learn how to run, then I'm going to help get rid of the baby weight, which worked to some extent. And so I began that way. I began just saying, well, if I can walk run a little bit, then I'll do it, because it's time efficient for me, because I couldn't always get to a gym. But if my husband would come home from work early, or if my kids were at daycare or preschool, then I could find 30 minutes to go outside and just kind of run walk, if you will. And so I began to build up my confidence like that. But I never in a million years thought that I could actually run a race. So at about age 29, 30, can't remember the exact time frame, I began to do like 5Ks from time to time. And then that built upon another. But again, I never thought that I could run faster than like a 13-minute mile, a 12-minute mile, because I just didn't think I had the strength or the stamina to be able to do it. And every time I wanted to get better, there was the voice in my head that said, you're not good enough, you're not coordinated, you don't know what you're doing, you can't really run, and don't even try because you're going to end up hurting yourself. And when I ran my first half marathon in 2015, I actually went with a personal trainer to be able to get strength in order to run that race. And I did, and I ran and I finished it. Not very fast, of course, but I did run it. And at points I walked it. And then slowly I began to strengthen my resolve to be able to do it. Now, here's the second piece of mind control, and this might resonate with you as well. As you're getting older, there's this narrative, right? Whether you're in your late 30s, early 40s, 50s, or 60s, there is this narrative that your body declines as you age. You gotta take it easy with your body because you lose muscle mass and you lose strength, and you're not able to do the things you were able to do in your 20s, right? There's this crazy narrative that we're fed. So again, we're fed this narrative of a limiting belief that the more you age, the less you can do. The more you age, the less you are strong. The more you age, the more you have aches and pains, and you better not run because you'll get joint pain and hurt your joints and things like that. So there's a bunch of bull crap out there that is feeding into this narrative globally, right? I'm not saying personally, but globally, that can affect you personally. Not only did I have to quiet the thoughts of my limiting beliefs based on my childhood and my upbringing, saying that I couldn't do anything that was coordinated or fast or not injure myself because I was so uncoordinated and clumsy. And then running as I am getting older, because I'm not 30 anymore, right? Chronologically speaking, I'm not 30 anymore. I am 54. And so when I was preparing for this 10 miler, not only was I working on my speed, which I'm running faster now than I have ever run, by the way, ever. Even when I was 29, 30, I'm running way faster now. I'm preparing to run an 8-minute mile, not for the half marathon, but just in training. So currently I'm running probably between a 9-minute mile and an 8.5-minute mile. So that was never on my radar. Never on my radar. Secondly, I injured myself in November and December where I couldn't run at all. And so I really wasn't able to start running and training until about February. And so then I learned how runners injure themselves, and I learned how not to injure myself. But I also had to get rid of this narrative of being older than I was when I was 30 and being older than I was when I ran my first half marathon, and to get over that limiting belief and say that is a bunch of bull. That just because I'm older than I was, that I might get injured, have joint pain, and so on and so on and so on and so on, right? So on and so forth. And I really had to block out all of that and just say to myself, I'm a fantastic runner. I'm a great runner. I even say I'm as light as a gazelle. I'm a skinny girl running. So I go through all these affirmations as I am preparing to run and as I'm training my run so that I can mentally prepare myself for what I want to achieve. And really that is what it is about when you are overcoming limiting beliefs. Now, again, this can happen to anyone across the board. But I feel that when it comes to creating and achieving major goals, that for women, it is even harder because of the narratives we were fed as children, right? Going back to my example of being in gym class, not every boy in gym class was athletic, right? That's just not reality. But that being said, it was a little bit easier for a boy to get chosen in gym class than it was for a girl who is non-athletic to get chosen in gym class. And also there was this narrative when I was personally growing up of don't get dirty, don't soil your clothes, you can't play in the dirt, you're a girl. You can't be inappropriate or move inappropriately because you are a girl. And that narrative isn't there so much today as people are raising children, but it really was when I was growing up. So it really is about quieting those voices, overcoming the limiting beliefs, and being able to have the mind control and the mind capacity to even quiet your own personal doubts about what you can or cannot achieve based on any criteria, right? For me, the criteria was I haven't done a long race since 2017. That was one. I'm 8 years older than I was in 2017. So the age-related one was a little bit there as well. Now, that wasn't quite as loud because I feel like I'm healthier, I'm stronger, and I am more fit than I was 8 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago. Those voices were still there, right? The voices were still there is oh, you think you can run this fast? How can you run this fast? You've never run this fast, right? And this is talking about running, but you can truly apply this to anything that you would like to achieve. Anything. And if there is a goal right now that you have been thinking about for a really long time, and you're just not sure how you can do it, you're not sure if you can do it, you're not sure if you have the capacity or inner strength to do it, or maybe even outer strength to do it, right? Because when it comes to running, you do need to have a lot of physical strength. It's a weight-bearing exercise. And of course, having the stamina to withstand a long duration of running as well. And again, it doesn't have to be running for you. It could be any other goal that you have had your eye on. So most goals, obviously, and most limiting beliefs about your goals or about that which you want to achieve is 90% a mental game, right? It's 90% about getting your mind right, about overcoming what other people have told you can or cannot do, overcoming what you've told yourself you can or cannot do, And then once you have started to overcome the mental piece, then the physical piece is super easy in any game, right? In any goal achieving game. 90% is getting over the mental piece of it. So I was running my 10-mile race and thinking of you guys as I was running the 10-mile race. And I was thinking by mile 9, when my body was giving out at some point, and it was super hot that day as well. At mile 9, when my body was giving out, and I was just like, like this is really hard at this point. And even in my training, I ran to 9.5 miles. And yes, it was hard, but I still did it. I was still thinking about you guys. And I was thinking like, oh man, if I can do this at age 54, you can do whatever you want. You can achieve your goals, your dreams, your desires, and get over your limiting beliefs. If me, the clumsy little kid who would fall, I can't even tell you. I mean, I didn't even need a reason to fall. I would just fall. Like there didn't even have to be an obstacle there. I would just fall. I can't even count how many times I fell down flights of stairs. I've broken my tailbone 3 times. 2 of those times was because I fell down a flight of stairs. Clumsy little me who couldn't even walk properly for like the first 20 years of my life, more than that really, because the 3rd time I broke my tail, I think I was like 29 or 30, but I really couldn't even like walk properly without tripping over my own feet, to being able to finish a 10-mile race and other half marathons while running and not falling and not tripping over my own feet. And seriously, I still have the propensity to trip over my own feet. So I actually have to tell myself while I'm running, Michelle, lift your feet. Like sometimes if I have a little like false start, I have to mentally tell myself, Michelle, lift your feet, like lift them up off the ground. So if I can do it, honestly, you can do anything. For me to be able to overcome those limiting beliefs was tremendous and is still tremendous to me, because seriously, I never thought I could run ever in a million years. I never thought it was on my radar. I never even thought it would be enjoyable either. I thought like running, that just sounds like torture to me, but I actually really enjoy it. I love running now, and it's something I do 4 days a week. I run 23 miles a week. Like running is something I really, really enjoy, along with yoga and weightlifting and other activities, of course. But again, that never, ever would have been possible had I not overcome my limiting beliefs, the limiting beliefs handed down by my family, mostly my mother, but by others too, right? Because it's not only your family when you have a limiting belief surrounding something. It might be like the gym teacher or other teachers or other kids in your class. And then also getting into the proper mindset to be able to transcend and go beyond what I think is possible at the time. So I hope this inspired you to go ahead, forge ahead with that goal you have in mind for yourself. I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this vlog. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and click on the bell. Put something in the comments below. What is a goal that you've been wanting to achieve, but that you have limiting beliefs around? Or maybe limiting beliefs that somebody else handed to you around. Put that in the comments below, because I would like to know. Were you clumsy as a child too? Were you the last one to be picked in gym class? Like me? So thanks so much. Thank you for your support on my YouTube channel. You can purchase one of my 12 published books. You can go to my website. I have so many resources. I now have this beautiful Vedic mantra. It's a universal mantra that you can learn for free. It's kind of like a teaser for my meditation class. So if you enjoy the universal mantra, you will definitely enjoy my meditation class. So you can try that out. I'll put the link below, and I will put that in the pinned comments as well. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.